There have been many successful comic novels written by women over the years, from the likes of Muriel Spark and Stella Gibbons down to Dawn French and Helen Fielding maybe, but the comic achievements of female authors are not getting the recognition that they deserve, according to comedian Helen Lederer, who's about to launch a new prize to honour funny books written by women. Helen joins me from Edinburgh, where she's just returned to the stand-up stage in a show called I Might As Well Say It. I might as well say it too, Helen. Why do we need another prize?
Well, actually, on the contrary, it's not another prize. I mean, it's certainly adding a prize to the canvas of prizes, which will continue with other prizes. But there is no prize for comedy literature for women, because I researched it extensively. When I'd finished my first novel, I got nominated for the P.G. Wodehouse. I never got nominated for anything, so that was a thrill. And it gave me the idea that there is no such literary interest and focus. There's the Women's Prize for Female Fiction, which has been going for 16 years, but nothing of like comedic, witty, absurdist, you name it, the whole gamut of wit on the page by women.
But you've mentioned the Wodehouse Prize there already. Will that not do?
Well, it's a nice question, feeding into the stats, rightly or wrongly, that I think 3 women have won over very, very hundreds of millions of years. And there is a sort of, there's some seasonal adjustment.
They speak over about 20 years, hasn't it?
Okay,
but I take the point. So 3 women...
It's a small percentage.
Sure. 3 female winners over 2 decades or so.
Yeah.
So you're going to redress the balance with this new prize. What are you calling it, first of all?
It's called Comedy Women in Print, and we're starting with the approach to go established comedic novelists and unpublished. So the message is to nurture the unpublished from the bottom up, and obviously to shine a light, as other prizes do, on established, excellent writers.
I'm just looking at the title of that prize, Comedy Women in Print. That suggests a broad remit. That could be a novel, it could be a poem, it could be a piece of journalism.
Well, that's the overarching hope, but in year 1 we kept it for comedy fiction, because there are comedy novels out there written by women that should be laugh out loud. I think the P.G. Wodehouse, we know as well, John, that one person's humour is another person's disaster. So, and it makes people very cross, particularly in stand-up. People get incensed with fury if they're not made to laugh by someone who purports to be funny, with the audacity of that. So it's embracing the individual. This is what I think it's a gesture towards saying not all women have to be the same. A light hasn't been shone on this before, and it's the time to do it.
So you're inviting published authors and also people who are having a go at starting off. I mean, this is tying in with our unpublished. I mean, that's the word.
It's not having a go. It's more actually, may we see your manuscript, and that maybe at the moment hasn't got a publisher to put it in a nice shiny cover. But the content, nevertheless, is from the start, and all publishers want to be the discoverer, don't they? They all want to have that great coup. So it is a sort of win-win, and I think the ambition has a message of established and new. So we're saying let's shine a light on something funny that hasn't had a light shone in this. I think we've got Alison Pearson, Marion Keyes. I mean, these women are proven, established authors of wit.
And you're back on the Edinburgh stage this week. How's it going, by the way?
I know. Well, I'm workshopping. I think my first night and my last night is very, very different. So I've used the audience shamelessly to try and get back on the saddle. Every night is different. I forget things often, but nobody seems to mind, and I'm selling out. So it's worth doing, but incredibly painful at times when no one laughs. But they do occasionally laugh.
But there's no shortage of women on the comedy stage. Are you suggesting there are fewer women putting that comedy down in print, or are you suggesting it's just actually not being acknowledged and it's not being hailed?
Well, I mean, stand-up, like all things, there's more parity in stand-up. There's more money to be made. Therefore, that's another factor. More promoters, more agents, creaming profits, which is how it is. So that's evolved. That's great. But I think my interest is more in the shining a light on the written word for now, because literally there's a gap in the market, John. It doesn't exist, so why not have a go and take CWIP can take its place.
Yes, I mean, as you say, the gap in the market, but the huge success of the likes of Bridget Jones' Diary shows that, I mean, publishers should be jumping on this sort of thing, because when it works, it can sell by the bucket load.
It is, because recognition causes laughter. I mean, laugh out loud on the page is quite difficult. I mean, I know, for instance, I've always laughed at the book Starter for 10 that a man wrote. But that is a joy, Muriel Spark, laugh out loud. Or
Yes.
just the joy at the description and the narrative.
We're gonna have to leave it there, Helen.
Okay.
But
Muriel
entries entries for the comedy
not alive,
Women
is she?
in Print. Who Muriel? No.
Right.
And I've just realised CWIP. That's CWIP,
Yes.
isn't it?
Oh, yes, I should have
CWIP
said.
for short. Don't worry, I've done it for you.
Thank you.
Entries invited by Friday. Details on our website, Helen's stand-up show. I might as well say it is at the Underbelly in Edinburgh until August the 25th.